thank you for having me here. I'm told this is the first manufacturing plant, automobile manufacturing plant being set up in Detroit in the last 25 years.
By an OEM auto major, yes, that's quite
So
remarkable.
what does this really mean? Why is it important for Mahindra to be present in Detroit?
You know, we first came here when we were really trying to enhance the competence of our R&D people. The thing about India is we have a huge reservoir of fresh and raw talent, a lot of talented young people. But in the auto industry, to top that up, you also need a lot of experience. One of the reasons why large global auto companies have a lead on us technologically was because of their engineering database, their experience over the years. So what happened very fortuitously was that during the recession in the US, a number of engineers in Detroit were laid off. And so suddenly you had a supply meets demand situation where what we had an insight about was that there is now a reservoir of experienced talent in Detroit which we can tap into. So most people who were looking at Detroit as a city in decline, quite to that contrary,
city for some time.
Quite to that contrary, we saw that as an opportunity. And to the credit of our R&D people, Rajan Vadera was in R&D at that time, and Rajan and Pawan requested Rick Haas, who had worked with us in Chennai in Mahindra Research Valley and had gone home. We said, why don't you set up something here? And so he went to work, rolled up his sleeves and located a number of people and got about 100 engineers to create Mahindra North American Technical Center. So we started by offshoring. And what I love about that story is it was India outsourcing to America.
That's right. So what does this mean now for you? Because you have said that you want to come in with an off-roader. And this also, Mr. Mahindra, gels in with what you've often said, that the future of mobility is such that the mass cars will become commoditized, and there is going to be people who will use cars more for recreational purposes.
Thank you for remembering that, yes.
So therefore it kind of gels in with that. But do we see Mahindra from there maybe even entering the mass market going forward?
Well, let's not call it the mass market. What the off-roader here could lead to is our presence in that lifestyle recreational SUV segment. We've had our sights on it. That's not something that is on the anvil right now, but we have been quite open to say that we might in fact look at SsangYong as a point of entry. So there are 3 points of entry potentially for Mahindra in the US. One is, of course, our core SUV off-road base. And very diligently we've built on the Mahindra brand here with a solid now awareness of our tractor brand. The tractor company then introduced the Retriever brand of ATVs, which you see outside. On top of that, we will be building this off-roader, which frankly is going to be highly differentiated and way beyond its competition in the field. So the next logical step could be certainly to go on to on-road SUVs. As far as what you call the mass market, I call the fleet or the commute market. I did say in India that Mahindra is participating in that as well. And you might recall I said very confidently that that is going to be all electric very soon. So being in the electric mobility market, there's no reason why Mahindra cannot enter into the electric vehicle market in the US too.
And I ask you that question also because very recently you have stitched an alliance, a global pact of sorts with Ford Motor Company. And I'm guessing you could also leverage that to make inroads. I mean, is that also part of your thinking when you say that you would be...
Well, let me be very frank. When we started the dialogue with Ford, the prime focus really was India and emerging markets, and to see how Mahindra and Ford can work together in a better manner to cope with the unpredictability of the world of mobility. How do we strengthen both our product offerings in India and in emerging markets? So that is really the current focus of the alliance in the talk. However, we have introduced as well the topic of mobility, shared mobility, and of electrification. And if the alliance gets stronger, there's no reason why two companies cannot explore what other synergies there are for each other around the globe.